It is often said that the most serene moments can reveal the most profound truths. The afternoon glowed with a golden hue, wrapping the world in a gentle embrace, as if the air itself had softened and time had decided to linger a moment longer. In the backyard, I found myself immersed in the care of my roses, my sanctuary, my quiet companions. The sun enveloped the world in a warm, golden glow. The trees were alive with the soft, lazy chirping of birds, while the gentle hum of summer enveloped me like a warm embrace. The atmosphere was serene, soothing, nearly flawless. As I knelt beside the rosebed, I delicately swept aside a few leaves, eager to inspect the soil beneath. For a fleeting moment, all else faded away. The solitude, the years that had quietly drifted since Frank's departure, the stillness that enveloped our home like a fine layer of dust. And then it dawned on me. A jolt of intense pain gripped my lower back. A sharp intake of breath caught in my throat, and I stood motionless. My fingers clutched the rim of the planter, my body bending beneath the crushing burden of agony. I attempted to move, to rise, yet it seemed as though my spine was being drawn taut from within. The hose slipped from my grasp, water cascading over the earth like a miniature river, saturating my jeans. The melody of birds gradually diminished. The only sounds that filled the air were the rapid cadence of my breath and the relentless thump of my heart. Then, a whisper echoed through the air. "Aunt Grace." It emerged from the shadows, youthful and filled with a mix of surprise and concern. As I tilted my head ever so slightly in the direction of the voice, still crouched, a quiet intuition stirred within me, suggesting that today would not unfold like any ordinary afternoon in the garden. Almost a year had passed since I last laid eyes on Ryan. He had gained height, broadened across the shoulders, and moved with a subtle confidence that took me by surprise. His hair, which had once been a wild tangle of chestnut curls, was now impeccably groomed, and his eyes, those familiar warm hazel eyes I recalled from his childhood, remained kind, still filled with curiosity. He dropped to his knees beside me, unwavering in his resolve. "Are you all right? Have you injured yourself?" he inquired, concern threading through his tone. I offered a faint nod. "Ah, my back is acting up again. It's a familiar occurrence." With a tender touch, he assisted me in rising to my feet. His hands possessed strength, yet they moved with a gentle precision, reminiscent of one well-versed in the art of handling fragile treasures. In that fleeting instant, I found myself leaning into him, not out of necessity, but for the comfort of safety it provided. Ryan arrived that afternoon at the request of his parents, close family friends who had long been like siblings to me, to lend a hand with some yard work. It seems they believed I had taken on too much by myself once more. Perhaps they held the truth after all. In moments when the silence within the walls grew unbearable, I found solace in the embrace of my garden, a refuge where I could lose myself among the blooms. 8 years have passed. It had been that long since Frank had departed from this world. I continued to wear my wedding band. It wasn't a matter of duty. Rather, removing it felt akin to wiping away a fragment of my very essence. Frank had been my partner, my anchor, and when he departed, the world blurred into a formless haze. It became gentler, obscured. Out here, among the roses, lavender, and sunflowers, I found the only place where I felt complete, surrounded by the constant cycle of growth and quiet blooming. "This place retains its beauty," Ryan remarked, surveying the surroundings. "Exactly as I recall." I smiled, wiping away a smudge of earth from my cheek. "It fuels my drive." He gazed at me then, not with pity, but with a softness that spoke volumes. An elusive notion, beyond my grasp. Loneliness manifests in various forms. It settles in gradually, a gentle presence following the weariness of a long day. The sort that appears unbidden, even in the absence of a summons. And then there's the kind that resides quietly within you, even amidst the company of those who care. That's the type I am most familiar with. Every evening, Frank would inquire, "Did today treat you well?" It was but a modest inquiry, soft, yet it gave me the sense that someone truly recognized me not merely as a wife or a woman but as an individual. As his individual. Ever since he departed, not a soul has inquired about that. Individuals do indeed check in naturally. My neighbors offer a friendly wave. Once a week, my brother reaches out with a call. Occasionally, the women from the garden club pay a visit, bringing with them delightful lemon cake or snippets of greenery to exchange. They have good intentions. They are delightful, yet they remain oblivious to my presence. I find myself lingering as a mere specter in the narrative of my own existence. I navigate the days, shopping for groceries, tending to my plants, reheating yesterday's meals, as if I were a figure in a performance devoid of spectators. At times, I find myself pondering whether I am slowly disappearing. When I utter my words, do they resonate in any distant place? It's peculiar, the depth of my longing for the little details. A gentle hand grazes my own. The gentle heat of a hand placed softly on the curve of my back. A soft voice bidding good night. The kind of touch that requires no words has become an unfamiliar presence in my life. Never did I imagine that I would come to yearn for something so uncomplicated. Ryan's hands from earlier, assisting me to my feet, they lacked any romantic undertones. Absolutely not. Yet they exhibited kindness. Here it is, genuine. In that fleeting moment, I was reminded of my corporeal existence. I refused to be merely a recollection, drifting through life in another's guise. The memory of that moment lingers in my mind, more persistently than I would like to acknowledge. His arrival was so quiet that I was completely unaware of it. One moment, I found myself kneeling on the grass, my lower back aching as I gritted my teeth, and the next, his shadow loomed over the flower bed. "Aunt Grace!" Ryan's voice shattered the silence, sharp and sudden like a twig breaking beneath a careless step. He was sprinting toward me, worry etched on his features. He dropped to his knees beside me, his hands poised in the air, uncertain of where to place them without causing me pain. "Are you okay? What transpired?" I think I twisted something," I managed, forcing a breath through the tightness in my back. "It just hit me all of a sudden." "Here, let me help you." His hands intertwined with mine, steadfast, cozy. Gone was the clumsy, youthful hold I once recalled. Instead, it was replaced by the firm, assured grip of a man who had truly found his place in the world. With unexpected grace, he lifted me up. With his other hand cradling my elbow, I felt a slight wobble in my step, prompting him to adjust his position, ensuring I was held more firmly. My body, hesitant and taut, gradually surrendered to his power. When did he transform into someone so adept? This was the boy I once pursued with sunscreen during our family picnics. The individual who once pleaded for just one more piece of peach pie and would drift off to sleep against my shoulder while we watched films on a Sunday afternoon. Before me he stood, tall, steady, and quietly observant. "You possess a strength that belies your appearance," I remarked, a hint of jest in my voice as I sought to regain my balance. Ryan's lips curved into a smile as he gently swept a wayward curl from his forehead. "I've been engaging in some exercise lately, yet it is likely the rush of adrenaline." "You startled me." His words enveloped me in a warmth that surpassed even the sun's embrace. In that moment, his gaze held a depth that transcended mere observation. It conveyed a sense of recognition, as if he saw me not as delicate or in need of saving, but as a person deserving of genuine affection. It was not a matter of pity. It was an undeniable presence, authentic and rooted, and that, in its essence, seemed like a truly rare occurrence. "Are you asking for my assistance with that?" Ryan inquired softly, his gaze drifting toward my back. In college, I often found myself offering shoulder massages to my dorm mates, a small reprieve during finals when we were all hunched over our books for hours on end. I let out a soft laugh, feeling a slight twinge of discomfort. "It appears you've acquired some valuable skills." "I did," he said with a grin, unexpectedly favored throughout the week of examinations. A moment of silence hung in the air. His tone was airy, carrying a hint of mischief. Yet his eyes, they contained a depth that felt profoundly rooted, truthful, compassionate. "You needn't feel obliged," I started, a flutter of uncertainty coursing through me. "I wish to," he expressed, uncomplicated, genuine. take your time. With a moment of hesitation, I finally turned away from him, lowering myself deliberately onto the edge of the patio step. The concrete was cool against my skin, a stark contrast to the warmth blossoming within my chest. He lowered himself behind me, pausing for my unspoken consent before placing his hands softly on my shoulders. His palms radiated warmth, not in a manner of romance, yet it evoked a sense of human connection that was tangible and authentic. He began at a leisurely pace. His thumbs dug into the tension near my neck, both assertive and gentle. He traced his fingers along the curve of my spine, gently releasing the tension that had accumulated through long seasons of solitude. Silence enveloped the world once more. Silence reigns, devoid of avian song and gentle winds, the subtle cadence of his hands gliding with deliberate purpose. As I shut my eyes, the world around me faded into silence. It felt like an eternity since I had experienced a touch like this, not born of duty or chance, but infused with genuine presence. Honor. An awareness that awakened a profound resonance within my soul. Not a longing, not at this moment, yet something timeless. Something that had lain dormant for years within my chest now stirs to life, awakening beneath the gentle, reassuring touch of his hands. What are you up to, Grace? He is your nephew. The idea pierced the stillness, cutting through the silence with a keen edge. The sound reverberated in my mind while Ryan's hands glided softly over my back, unraveling the tension that had lingered for years, both in body and spirit. I endeavored to concentrate on the gentle whisper of the breeze, the gentle embrace of sunlight. Nothing could have prepared me for the way my body reacted to this moment. This is not a matter of desire, I reminded myself. It revolves around the essence of visibility, to be embraced. Yet, a heaviness settled in my chest, burdened by guilt. The boundaries were indistinct, excessively gentle, and yet there lingers a sense of something more, truly authentic. As Ryan completed his task, he offered my shoulder a gentle squeeze, a gesture that conveyed, "I'm here for you if you require support." Just when I anticipated he would rise and depart, he instead settled beside me and took a seat. Silence prevails. Take your time. Only existence. In that moment, he extended his arm, drawing me in with a tender embrace. It lacked any sense of coercion. It lacked any presumption. The silence enveloped the surroundings, enduring, as if he understood my needs even before I was aware of them. It had been years since I felt a hug like that. Initially, I found myself paralyzed. My arms are stiff, my breath hitched, yet in that moment a fracture occurred within me, and the tears began to flow, sweltering, hushed, initially filled with embarrassment. Yet Ryan held on tightly. He refrained from inquiring. He simply embraced me, steadfast as a rock resisting the tide. In that instant, I found myself unbound by the constraints of my identity, no longer a woman weighing the limits I could traverse. I was neither a widow nor an aging gardener, nor merely a shadow in my own existence. I was merely human, a yearning for connection, yearning for warmth, yearning for the warmth of an embrace. And God help me, I was reluctant to release my grip. The living room lay shrouded in a gentle dimness, illuminated solely by the flickering glow of the fireplace that Ryan had just kindled. He acted without my request, moving with a subtle comprehension, collecting kindling and igniting a match as if it were a ritual he had performed countless times prior. Perhaps he had. Perhaps I had simply overlooked the transformation he was undergoing. We lingered beside one another on the rug, a breath apart, yet intimately near. The stillness that enveloped us was dense, yet it held a certain ease, simply complete, brimming with unspoken words and unexpressed thoughts. The flames danced, their gentle glow illuminating Ryan's features. His features appeared more mature in that light, more robust, more resolute. Yet it was the depth of his gaze that captivated me. Not the hue, not the form, yet the manner in which they perceived me, truly perceived me. I averted my gaze, only to return to it once more. And when I finally turned my gaze, he remained fixated, yet present. My breath hitched. He inclined his body toward me, deliberately, with a measured caution, as though he were offering me every opportunity to halt his advance. Yet I remained still, and then our lips intertwined. It was not a kiss ignited by fervor. It lacked urgency or desire. The pace was languid, gentle, almost imperceptible. A question lingering in the air, unspoken between us. As we separated, silence enveloped us. Yet, an undeniable change had occurred. I remain uncertain about who made the initial move. Perhaps it was he. Perhaps the fault lies with me. Yet, in the next heartbeat, we found ourselves enveloped in each other's embrace. Not out of urgency, but with intention. The type of intimacy that arises not from longing, but from a deep-seated ache. Emerging from solitude, garments fell away softly, not in haste, but with a sense of honor. Every touch seemed to hold an eternity of yearning, every breath akin to a whispered secret. It transcended the physical form. Not quite. It revolved around existence, concerning the embrace and the act of revealing all. Two silent spirits, tired and frayed, at last discovering solace. Not in the flames, but within one another. We lingered in a cocoon of quietude, the sole accompaniment to our stillness being the gentle crackling of the fire and the steady cadence of our breaths. The moment had slipped away, yet an essence remained, neither shame nor regret, but a profound stillness, a delicate semblance of tranquility. Ryan adjusted his position ever so slightly, allowing our eyes to connect. His voice carried a softness, tinged with uncertainty. "I understand you believe this is misguided," he murmured gently. "Perhaps it is. Yet, I've never experienced a touch that resonates within me, not merely in a physical sense, but deep down." He rested his hand gently upon his chest. "As you just demonstrated." My breath was momentarily suspended, my throat constricted. I parted my lips to utter a sound, yet the words quivered, hesitant to take shape. "I never thought I would experience this once more," I murmured, as if confiding in the silence. "Not at this stage of life. Not after Frank." Ryan lingered, embodying patience. I believed my heart had found its peace. Calm and serene, the lake reflects the tranquility that follows the tempest. Silence. Yet this evening, I shook my head, the words eluding me, unable to find their way to completion. "This evening," he spoke softly. It recalled the art of movement. Tears brimmed once more. Yet this time they were not born of guilt. From acknowledgement. From the chilling yet gentle reality of being truly observed. To be desired even now. "This wasn't part of my plan," I confessed, my voice trembling. "I hadn't set out to find love. Yet my heart chose to defy my intentions." Ryan remained silent. He extended his hand toward me, intertwining his fingers with mine. His touch no longer carried the vibrancy of youth. It exuded a sense of eternity. In that dim, wavering moment between revelation and quietude, something emerged. Neither a future nor a vow, but an undeniable truth. A truth that now bound us together. They seldom reveal the profound stillness that love adopts as the years unfold. How it ceases to burst forth like fireworks or rage like storms, and instead arrives softly, in gentle gestures, prolonged silences, and the warmth of shared cups of tea. Through fleeting glances exchanged across the room. In hands that hesitate, savoring the moment just a touch more. For years, I thought that kind of love was a thing of the past. So softly did the door close on the day Frank departed from this realm. I have come to terms with it. I discovered how to enrich the vacant areas with earth and vibrant flora. Yet this evening stirred within me a memory long buried. Love transcends the confines of time. It doesn't require a birth certificate to make its appearance. It comes to you in its own time, when the moment is right, when you are prepared, regardless of the number of candles that adorned your last birthday cake. Individuals will express their thoughts as they please. It is a certainty that they always do. Conversations will meander through the realms of age, delve into the intricacies of family, and explore the nuances of right and wrong. Yet, they will remain unaware of the profound experience, the sensation of truly being seen, to be embraced, to experience, if only for a brief instant, the sensation that your heart's narrative remains unfinished. For the simple reason that the reality is, It had not. Perhaps this is where it all ends. Perhaps this night was everything we possessed. Yet for me it sufficed to experience love. Completely, gently, honestly, even if just one more time, may suffice to occupy the silent years that lie both in the past and the future. Ancient hearts continue their rhythmic dance, unwavering in their pulse. They simply learn to strike with a gentler touch. And within that gentle embrace, love endures. The morning light cascaded through the window, casting gentle, golden rays across the room. It caressed every surface with a tender grace. The aged wood of the floorboards, the contours of the fireplace, the beloved design on my cherished quilt. I opened my eyes gradually, emerging from slumber not in a rush, but with a serene awareness. Ryan lay beside me, lost in slumber, his breath a calm rhythm, his face relaxed in the embrace of sleep. One of his hands lay gently atop mine, serving as an anchor, a vow unspoken. I remained still. I lay there, observing the light as it played upon his skin, sensing the serene gravity of the moment. It felt like an eternity since I had stirred from slumber beside another soul. It has been an eternity since that particular someone stirred emotions within me. Secure, for the first time in many years, I found myself not waking up in solitude. What mattered most was that I felt a sense of companionship. A smile graced my lips, not in victory, not with absolute assurance, yet with an essence that runs deeper. A semblance of tranquility I believed had slipped through my fingers long since. This was not a matter of what lay ahead. It was never a matter of defying conventions or reshaping destinies. It revolved around one solitary night, one solitary link, a whisper of honesty in a life that has lingered too long in quietude. Uncertainty looms ahead, and I find myself pondering what the future holds. Yet, on that morning, with the sunlight gently caressing my face and Ryan's hand resting atop mine, I realized this undeniable truth. I had experienced something genuine. At the age of 65, a woman finds herself in a unique chapter of life. To experience that authenticity once more was truly a remarkable occurrence. Should this narrative resonate within you, if you share the conviction that love transcends age and defies conventions, I extend to you an invitation to linger a while longer in my company. Join us on this journey, and be sure to activate notifications. Let us continue to share the narratives that serve as reminders. One is never too old to experience something novel.